Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Napick starts right now. Here's Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Napick. I'm Bill Napick, and today, Successful Living with Kristen O'Pry and Rachel Eckroth, and then later in the show, Ali Galan. Kristen and Rachel are with Modern Acupuncture right here with 2 locations in the Houston area. We're going to find out about acupuncture and so much more. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
It's awesome, and I'm fresh from my first acupuncture treatment. Well, I say fresh, it's been about a week. So, Kristen, let's tell people about your company and the 2 locations.
Sure. We have, it's Modern Acupuncture, modernacupuncture.com, and we have 2 locations, one in River Oaks at West Gray and Shepherd. Second location is at the Memorial area, Bunker Hill and I-10. We opened the River Oaks location in 2018, so we've been around for a little over 4 years.
And as far as the I-10, that's where I first found out about you. How long has that been open?
We opened that in 2020, right before quarantine.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Business challenges.
But about 2 years, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And as far as acupuncture, I guess there's people listening right now that get regular treatments, have been using this technique for years. And then there's also people like me. I'd never had a treatment until just 2 weeks ago. So let's give people an idea of what it is in case they're mystified by it. And I bet a few people are.
You're exactly right. When we first bought this franchise and were introduced to the concept, we learned that maybe 5% of Americans had even tried acupuncture. They've heard about it. They didn't know a lot about it. And part of our process is educating people on what it does. And Rachel can kind of talk to a little bit more specifics on what it treats. I think people think, oh, it might treat my back pain. It might treat my knee pain. And it does. But it does a lot more than just chronic pain.
Well, on that note, Rachel, let's tell people you are a practitioner. Is that the correct word?
Yes, I'm Dr. Rachel Eckroth, practitioner or licensed acupuncturist. Mm-hmm.
So as far as the process and why it works, let's tell people about that.
Well, acupuncture works basically sort of in a broad sense through the nervous system, both central and autonomic. And when we insert the needles, a signal is sent to the brain, and the brain responds with things like increasing blood flow, facilitating the healing response, releasing our endogenous feel-good chemicals, and various other, a myriad of body functions.
When we talk about the central nervous system, and the other is called what other kind of?
Autonomic.
And what is that one, by the
So
way?
that
It sounds like it's automatic.
Right. Controls the involuntary things,
Our
things like
beating.
heartbeat, yeah.
Okay, so when we think about any nervous system, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's like a highway. So there's the nerves that go throughout the body to the tip of our fingers, I suppose, right? Explain how that system works.
So
and how acupuncture helps it.
So acupuncture is one mode of traditional Chinese medicine. So I'll say TCM for short. And the theory or the basis of it is that there are meridians, sort of channels of energy flowing through the body. And so those in general correspond to what we say in Western medicine as the nerve pathways.
As far as the many things that you could be doing in life, and I looked at your Facebook page, I think you were a dancer, maybe you still dance. What was it about acupuncture where you said, hey, this is going to be my profession?
I wanted to get into holistic healing, and I was really interested in herbal therapy, which is another part of TCM, but you can't do herbal therapy without acupuncture, and I got introduced basically to the theories, and I fell in love, and I was there. And I was still actually performing at the time when I was going to school, and so it was very helpful for me to get acupuncture because I was kind of an older performer, and so I had a lot of aches and pains.
Look at that old to me. Just saying, those that tune into the YouTube video that we make here on every show, you seem like as they say, a spring chicken. You're young. But as far as dance, that's it's like an athlete too, so you have that. But as far as the training, you just don't become an acupuncturist
Overnight.
So tell people a little bit about the training, because that was something that surprised me.
Yeah. So after your bachelor's degree, you go to school for 4 years, and that you get a master's in acupuncture, and you can be licensed at that point. You take board exams, and you're licensed by the Texas Medical Board. But then after that, you can get your doctorate, which is about another year and a half.
We're talking with Dr. Rachel Eckroth with Modern Acupuncture, and you are practicing at is that the right term, practicing?
Yes.
At the River Oaks location.
Correct.
And as I looked at the website, Kristen, you have a team of people at both locations, and you also, on your website, you have a description of each person, and their credentials are very impressive. So I think, and I looked at that before I went in the first time, and it's fascinating. Let's tell people just from the business standpoint. We're hearing about restaurants, any kind of business. It's hard to find good help right now.
Absolutely. And I feel very fortunate to
How
have.
do you do that?
Well, I think part of it is we have one of the best acupuncture schools in Houston. So we have a good pool of acupuncturists in the Houston area. And so I'm very thankful for that. I've been fortunate to have 7 acupuncturists on staff that are amazing. Rachel's been with us since we opened 2018. She's our lead. Marie is one of our lead acupuncturists at the Bunker Hill location.
That's how I saw Marie.
Yep, you saw Marie. She treated you. So really, our staff and our acupuncturist staff is critical in this industry.
Because unlike a lot of businesses, the practitioner is really the key. Now, I will say to those that have not been to Modern Acupuncture, any of your locations, that the environment also is a very nice thing that I experienced. It's relaxing, comfortable, pleasant as you look around. So that's a good thing as well. However, it's really what happens with the practitioner, I think. Right.
Part of our draw to Modern Acupuncture was based on the environment. When I had gone to acupuncture, a clinic, it was great. I had a great experience. I was first introduced to it about 11 years ago. And it was a medical, clinical type setting. I sat on a table with a paper on the table. It wasn't very comfortable. It worked. It was effective. But it wasn't relaxing as much as our site or our clinic is. We have more of a spa-like setting. It's community, which makes it affordable. And it's relaxing, it's healing. We're doing the exact same thing that you would do in another clinical type setting, but just a different environment. ModernAcupuncture.com.
And when you use the term spa-like setting, that's the setting many of us want to be in, no matter what's going on, because this is a pretty crazy world. And guess what? We're in the 4th largest city right here, Houston. People are coming. I don't know what the last figure, 1,000 a day. There's people coming like crazy here. So the good news is that's great for business. Whatever business we're in, it gives us an opportunity. The flip side, it's great for your business, because I think in the hustle and bustle, having a spa-like setting in a treatment that can be beneficial, that's pretty good, and a good business idea to be a part of it on your part.
Yeah, we are super excited about this idea. It's neat. We see a lot of patients that come during their lunch break. They can come 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute session. Rachel will assess them. She'll needle them for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then they're asleep in that chair for 20 minutes. But they're not having to go home and take a shower or change or anything like that. They can go straight back to work. They feel rejuvenated, energized, maybe a little more clear-minded and productive.
And you mentioned your first experience. Did you get your first treatment in life, you say, about 11 years ago?
Yes. Well, actually, 13 years ago, actually.
And was that here in Houston?
Here in Houston. Actually, I was referred by a fertility doctor, and he refers a lot of patients to do acupuncture during a fertility cycle. So I took his advice, and after many rounds of in vitro prior to acupuncture, that was by far my best one. And so I was also having back pain in addition to that. So it was all encompassing. It helped both. And so that was how I was originally introduced to it.
The other thing I'm thinking about is the potential marketplace for the services that you have at Modern Acupuncture. It's pretty good here in Houston, I'm guessing.
Yes. We're the first mainstream acupuncture business in Houston. And so we were fortunate to find 2 great locations that are accessible to a lot of Houston people. We're on the west side of town. We're on the east side of town. We hope to have a few more locations. ModernAcupuncture.com. We have another location that's not ours, but it's in Kingwood, so on the north side.
From the staffing strategy of a business, and in particular your business, you have acupuncturists, some are doctors, but also the other staff, you have. Who else do you have there?
We call it our Zen Advisors.
Zen Advisors.
Zen
Okay.
Advisors,
Okay.
and they're the front desk staff. So I have two managers. I have one at River Oaks and one at Bunker Hill. You met Christian.
I didn't meet him, but the day I went in, but I will tell you,
Okay.
I'll tell the listeners, as I told you right before we started recording, and that's such again, going back to a business, having the right people in the right positions in any company is so important. I would have not gone to your location, thus we wouldn't be talking here today probably, if Christian did not do such a great job of answering my questions, because I didn't know anything about acupuncture. He was very nice, and he was not in a hurry. He answered my questions, and even when I had the question, he was like, is there anything else you need to know? And then I said, no, I think I'm good. Thank you very much. He said, now, if there's anything else, just give me a call back. So he went above and beyond all a Ritz-Carlton type of service. You've been at a Ritz lately?
Good.
There's no bad Ritz because they go above and beyond. So as far as Christian goes, hats off to him. He's incredible.
It's great to
and
hear.
Makes me want to call your River Oaks location to see who I get on the phone, and I'll put them through the paces.
Well, good. That's good to hear. Part of our biggest hurdle is educating patients. So having somebody like Christian that takes the time to answer the questions and alleviates any fears that somebody might have about the perception of needles.
The whole idea of needles, because how many times you hear people, oh, I hate needles.
Exactly.
Right? But
Rachel
this is a
hears
whole
that all
different
the
thing.
time.
So, Rachel, let's talk a little bit. I'm going to needle you. No, let's talk a little bit about the needles. They're needles, but they're not the kind of needles we're afraid of, right?
Right,
Would
right.
that be safe to say? Tell us about it.
They're called filiform, so it's just a solid piece of stainless steel, whereas the needles that you get blood drawn with or get an injection, those are hypodermic, so they have a hole in them. So when
they're big.
Well, they don't have to be that big, but they tear a hole in your skin, but these just go in the holes that are already in your skin.
That's a good way to put it,
Yeah.
because when you magnify the skin, there's pores, thus the holes. So these go in. You're trained to put them into the existing pores. Would that be right?
Right. I'm trying to put them into the skin painlessly.
So when let's tell people the things that you most often hear. You're going to treat in a given week X amount of people. They're going to come in and they're going to say, hey, Rachel, here, I'm back, or I'm here for the first time. What are the things that people seek you out for as far as the conditions? Well, my back hurts, or I want to be able to think clear. I want better service. What are the things?
I would say mostly
Top three.
Top three: pain, the various things that relate to stress, which is sleep, busy mind,
I can't turn it off.
Right.
Yeah.
So poor sleep due to a busy mind, anxiety, stress and anxiety, and then digestive function.
And when you talk about pain, it sounds like that's maybe the top one. Pain where? Back pain or just everywhere?
Anywhere, everywhere. So tooth pain, headaches, back pain, ankle pain,
You treat a lot of migraines.
lots of migraines.
So then how is it people would want to know, okay, you do things, and I'm guessing that when you put the needle in to the pore of the skin, how do you know where to put it? And when you put it in the right place, once you know where that is, going to the school for those many years, how does that help the given situation as far as having that little series of needles?
Right. So what
How's it work?
happens? So like you said, we know where to put them because we go to school for a long time to learn these points. And then after a while, as you practice, you can. It's almost like you can feel where to put them. And then once you insert the needles, it kind of creates a micro trauma, and that's what sends the signal to the brain, and the brain says, okay, I need to get to work. I need to, send the endogenous chemicals that reduce pain. Or I need to send the chemicals that help you balance stress, quiet your mind, that kind of thing.
And then each person that you see obviously is different, has a different body, all those things. So again, to the placement of the needles, how do you look at someone, how long does it take you to assess, okay, let's say I'm here for hand pain. My hand hurts, I've been overused, I've been working. Someone comes in for that, how do you know where to put them when you look at the person's physical shape and those things?
So if we're if we are, say you have a hand pain, we'll take this example. I'll ask you, the questions, where does it hurt? But I'll also do other things like look at your tongue, feel your pulse to sort of determine the type of pain. In TCM, we differentiate pain different ways. And so that's all a part of how we treat. So it's not just, I have a pain right here in the center of my hand. I've got to say, okay, well, is that pain, a result of what we call blood stagnation, or is it dampness? So we have different ways of differentiating pain in any other disease. And it's kind of complicated when you try to suddenly tell somebody who's very familiar with Western medicine, the differences. So we keep those, try to keep it a little short and brief, but give you still an explanation of what's going on. So we try to educate every patient that's coming in what's going on with their body.
In any profession, ongoing training, ongoing research has to take place. Mm-hmm. As an acupuncturist, what are the things that you're doing to stay on top of it, new developments, or, hey, we found out it's good for something new? What are you doing there? And is there a trade show that you go to?
So every acupuncturist has to complete hours of continuing education every 2 years. We have to turn it in. And then Modern Acupuncture also does a really great job of forwarding the latest in the research.
Kristen, they've been telling me there's been some kind of pandemic. Some businesses were shut down. So when it first happened, when this virus came upon us, when it was a big deal where we didn't know a lot of things,
right?
Businesses were shut down. What happened, and to your business, how did you overcome that as a business person to be able to say, oh, man, I just invested this money. I have people that are depending on a living. What happened? How'd you get through it? That's a challenge.
It was a challenge. We stayed closed the minimum time that we had to stay closed. And
how long was that about, roughly?
5 to 6 weeks, maybe. Mm-hmm. So we did that.
Doors were shut.
Doors were shut. And then we started gradually bringing everyone back and realizing, people need this, especially now. They needed it for their immune system. They needed it for stress, anxiety. So we started opening the doors. It was very painful for several months and very slow, but it gradually started picking back up. And I would say this finally, towards the tail end of 2021, we're starting to see a patient level that we were seeing before pandemic, which is good news.
The day I went in, I'm going to say about half of the chairs were full.
Good. We still are distancing some, and so we're trying to space it, and we have our schedule spaced out so we're not overcrowding the room when we can. But yeah, so we can see up to 8 an hour, but we will likely see 4 to 8 an hour depending on how many acupuncturists we have working that day. And we can see, 30 to 40 a day if we're full.
So that's a nice healthy flow. And then going back to the opportunity here in this city, you have a lot of opportunity because I'm going to guess there's a lot of people that don't know about it. Now, as people are listening, they're going to know a little bit more, those that are listening to the show, but a lot of people don't know about it, and they're intrigued, and here you are.
Yes.
So you're available for them.
We are. We're available, and we're open every day.
Every day? Sunday.
Every day. We are closed at Bunker Hill on Sunday, but we are open at River Oaks on Sunday. So there's always an opportunity.
And then you mentioned the immune system. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a doctor. If you're out there, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lot of things. However, one of the things is it would seem to me what's ever good for your general health, whether it's taking a vitamin, whether it's exercising, is good for your immune system.
Yes.
I mean, the body, and even as we talked, Rachel, about the connections with the pathways to the brain and nerves, the body, if something's good for the body, it must have some kind of help the total system and all the systems in the body, including the immune system.
Well, in acupuncture, one thing that I guess a myth is that you have a pain, you come in, you're treated, and you're fixed. Acupuncture is really a lifestyle change, and it's being healthy and doing this weekly to maintain that level of health and healthy immune system, lower stress level, which obviously impacts your immune, your pain, your anything that's going wrong, I guess, in your body. So we try to encourage our patients to come address the issue at hand, but then stay and come weekly, come every other week to really maintain that level of health and not let it go away and stay at the place that your goal was.
So then that's a good thing as far as when you go in. It's also, I think, something to look forward to. Now, I would look forward to my next visit because in my mind I'm thinking, okay, this is something that could help me, but also I'm thinking and picture in my mind the destination, the relaxed atmosphere, the soft music. I don't know what the decorations on the wall were, but they were pretty cool. They put me in a certain state. I don't know how you did that. Is the River Oaks one like that too?
They're the exact same.
Okay,
yes, we have TVs with just a very, very beautiful scene on there.
Very colorful. The birds.
Yes.
I was watching those birds.
It makes you. Yeah, it kind of puts you in a place where can I go next on my vacation?
Exactly. In fact, what I was doing was alternating between having my eyes open and looking at the colors on the screen and listening to the music, then also closing my eyes and relax. Yeah, it was a very nice experience for about, I don't know if I was there an hour or 50 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah. It's
probably not that long, but yeah, most of our patients fall asleep after their treatment.
And she took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was low. She took it when we started, and then when I was finished, I said, hey, by the way, take it now. Let's see, just to see the difference. It was lower.
Yes. And that quite a few of our patients are blood pressure related patients.
So they've come in to have a lower blood pressure.
Yes.
So as you look from a business standpoint, here you are, the two locations, River Oaks. Let's tell people also the website before we go any further.
Okay. It's modernacupuncture.com. And if you go to the locations, you can just type in your zip code and it'll automatically pull up probably our two locations, the Bunker Hill and River Oaks location.
Modernacupuncture.com. And
yes.
This is also good exercise for people to learn how to spell acupuncture.
Yes.
So that's easy to do. Or they just Google Modern Acupuncture. You could be driving. It's too easy.
Exactly.
So as you look ahead from the business standpoint, Kristen, we're talking with Kristen O'Pry. When you look ahead, what are the things you're thinking? Well, hopefully this thing's behind us, this disruption to our lives. But when you look ahead, 2022, you put on the 2022 vision glasses. What are you seeing as you talk from a business standpoint about how to make this thing thrive and go further and help people?
We are definitely looking for opportunities to grow. I think one of our biggest opportunities is the medical field. We have an opportunity, especially at the Bunker Hill location with Memorial Hermann being right there, to really expand into the medical field. MD Anderson has acupuncturists on staff that they recommend their patients to go to. Unfortunately, they have so many patients and so few acupuncturists. So we also get an overflow from the MD Anderson hospital for patients that see us. So I really think we have an opportunity in the medical field. The Western medical and the Eastern Chinese medicine really work very well together. And I think that's something that we're finally recognizing over here in the United States, that how acupuncture really complements the treatment that you're receiving from your doctors here. And we're not negating what they're doing here. We want to work with them hand in hand.
In fact, as I was preparing, I was looking on the internet, YouTube, a lot of answers on YouTube, as we all know. Some of them are even correct. But one of the things that they were talking about acupuncture, and I forget the term, it's exactly what you said, how it is, there's a term, but how it works with other things that you're doing.
Yes.
For your body. Regular medicine, this. So I forget what that's called.
Complementary alternative medicine.
Yeah,
probably.
but it's like you have a lot of things that you want to do. And, of course, for health, I'm going to say it again. I mentioned exercise. Hey, you need to exercise. I don't care what you're doing or what's wrong. As much as possible, we want to get exercise, get out there, move around. That gets the blood going too, right?
Exactly. And just how you mentioned exercise being something that you have to keep up for your physical health.
There you go.
Acupuncture, same thing. You don't just one and done really anything to maintain your health. So acupuncture, it's good to get it weekly or biweekly.
And when we talk about that, as far as the business standpoint and the cost of your treatments at both locations, again, Bunker Hill, River Oaks, let's tell people, Kristen, how much it costs and the kind of expectations from the cost standpoint. And by the way, I got in there, you had some kind of super deal. That's the other thing that brought me in. I thought, wow, that is a great pricing for someone to come in and see what it's about?
Well, we wanted to limit the barrier. If you didn't know what acupuncture was or you haven't tried it before, we didn't want cost to stand in your way. We wanted you to be able to try it. Our walk-in is $80, but we offer a 60% discount on that, which is $29 for any first-time patient. Once you come in and you decide this is something I want to do, I want to pursue, I want to try it, we have plans and packages that really give you about a 50% discount off the walk-in. So it can range from $25 a visit to $40 a visit, which is, I would say the best price in town for receiving the same service you can receive at any acupuncture clinic.
And going back to, as I said in the beginning, the staff that you have, you really have tremendous people. And that in itself, from a business standpoint, I don't know how you do that. That is very difficult to have the right people, maintain the right people, keep the right people, and get positive feedback from your customers.
Yes, I think staffing is one of the biggest challenges in owning a business, and I feel very fortunate.
Especially now.
Yeah, exactly. Our acupuncture staff is amazing. Staffing our front desk and having the best customer service, that's a challenge. And finding the right people, I feel we've got 3 staff right now that are awesome, and we're looking for more too.
And the website again is?
ModernAcupuncture.com. ModernAcupuncture.com.
The other thing, when I went to Bunker Hill, easy parking, no real hurdles. And that's any more these days, parking, whether it's a restaurant or anything else, it's like, oh man, is it going to be a hassle just to park to get to do what I'm going to do?
No, we're easy to find.
Easy to find, easy to park. Also, Rachel, what are some of the other things we should know from your standpoint, as you are actually the person, the practitioner, the doctor of acupuncture at the River Oaks location?
So one of the things I really enjoy about this type of clinic, which is a community-style practice, I like it that people will be in there at the same time, but with partitions. But there's also, we deal in energy a lot. We like to think about energy. And so a communal experience of acupuncture, I think, works really well for patients, especially first-timers who might be a little uncomfortable. They feel a little bit more secure when they see everybody else getting it and sleeping so peacefully. So I think that's a really, really good thing about acupuncture. What you'll get out of it is such a sense of well-being that will stay with you until your next visit, at least.
All of a sudden, I'm hearing spa music in the background in my own head, but that's a whole nother, I don't know if you can cure that, but just saying. Before we close this segment, Kristen O'Pry, you're the owner of Modern Acupuncture, River Oaks, Bunker Hill. Let's tell people, what else do you want people to know?
Well, we want you to come try it. We think it's something I have a very strong conviction for the practice. I can personally tell you that I've tried it. I've loved it. It's been effective. We're affordable. We think that to maintain your health, you shouldn't be spending hundreds of dollars to be able to maintain it. So we want to make it easy for you, accessible, and affordable.
In fact, you really have done that. In fact, as far as the pricing, the introduction price, and having your people answer the questions at the very first. Now, you may have people that walk in and ask questions. For me, I looked on the internet and I was on the telephone. That's where I asked my questions. Let's tell people the phone numbers as well.
Sure. The River Oaks phone number is 713-677-0551, and we're located at the corner of West Gray and Shepherd, right across the street from Barnes & Noble. And our Bunker Hill location is located in the HEB Shopping Center at Bunker Hill and I-10, and that phone number is 346-867-1998.
And the website again is?
ModernAcupuncture.com. ModernAcupuncture.com.
I'm thinking about the River Oaks location in that a great day would be get the treatment and then head over to one of the many restaurants. Some of my favorite restaurants are right over there in that River Oaks Center. So
we have lots over there, yes.
I'm getting hungry as I think about that. Also, Rachel, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
I want people to know that acupuncture is a painless way to maintain health and improve health. And so you don't need to be afraid of needles. Just come on in and give it a shot, and you'll really, it's life-changing.
That is awesome. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Kristen O'Pry, Rachel
Eckroth.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. We're coming right back after this. Are you having trouble getting the Wi-Fi to work in your home? You know, if the home is over 4,000 square feet, it's going to be really tough to get the box from the service provider to do the job for you. Let me tell you about Jacqueline and Donnie from Media Systems. They have a team of high-tech professionals that know how to solve this. They also work on all kinds of home automation systems like Crestron, Lutron, and Control4. Look, if you don't mow your own yard or work on your own car, why are you wasting time with this stuff? Call Jacqueline and Donnie, your home technology advisors, and have their team take care of this for you. Media Systems has been in business for 40 years in Houston, and they're ready to help. Check them out at mediasystems.com, mediasystems.com, or call 713-426-0900, 713-426-0900, mediasystems.com. Let's welcome Ali Galan. He is with American Property Tax Services. He is the property tax superhero, as I like to say. Ali, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again. I always enjoy being on your show.
Up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Ali Galan, the property tax superhero. And,
Yeah.
and I say that because it's true. You're doing incredible work in the commercial world, even helping residential people fight their property taxes, making sure they pay the right amount and not a penny more if possible, right?
That's right, and I like that you put it that way. We try to help as many people as we can. Not everyone can get a reduction. I just want to let everyone know that. Nothing is guaranteed. However, we go out there and make sure that you're well represented.
Well, one of the things I think about, I never noticed this before, but here in Houston, as I've lived here, property taxes seem to be a little bit higher as we look around the country. And of course, we don't have the state income tax, but as far as property taxes goes, it seems like a regular exercise for homeowners, people that own businesses, that they need to make sure that it's in check, and they do that with companies like yours. So why is that our taxes are like that? Why do we have to go through this ritual every year? Just curious.
Well, thankfully, we live in one of the third or fourth largest cities in the United States, and obviously the best state in the United States that's always attracting businesses. And fortunately for us, property values are on the rise. And when you say your taxes are high, it's because the value's on the rise. The value's on the rise because there's more sales activity in our major city. Now, when you go to smaller cities or suburbs, of course, the values are starting to, are a lot lower than the major city is. But it shows growth, and that's what we like to see.
And we're seeing tons of growth, no doubt. Houston,
Absolutely.
Texas. And we hear about California. People are coming from New Jersey, all over the place. So when you're helping people, and one of the things that's interesting, anything that's related with taxes, I'm thinking about getting my taxes done just for my income here. It's coming up April 15th. But as far as taxes go, for the average person, and I'm the spokesman for the average person, as you may know. So the average person, it's hard to figure out all the nuances because there's the law, there's all these tax codes, so it's complicated. And then there's mathematics that comes into it. You're helping, I don't know how many people in terms of the commercial properties that you do, but it's a lot. Would that be safe to say?
Yes, it is. In fact, there's a lot of different ways to maneuver and get yourself the lowest possible tax burden off of your back. So the easiest way of saying this is that there's plenty of resources out there. There's plenty of information out there. Our tax code is pretty simple as far as property tax goes. So these exemptions and these, I guess you could say, tax savings that are allotted to you are very easy to get.
Well, what I'm getting at also is that you're helping a lot of people at one time, and I suppose quarterly or however it is, once a year, you must have a real crush where you have to have a lot, an extra workload. But how do you, just as a success principle in helping others in other industries, how do you stay organized with such a tedious, detail-oriented work? What do you do to stay straight? Because I always see you're relaxed, you're steady, you're on track, it seems like. But how do you do it? I mean, that's complicated to most people.
Well, in our business, we're a turnkey company. So there's several times in the year where things are happening. Not everything happens all at one time. So the beginning part of the year, the part of the year we're in right now, we're filing renditions for people. Basically, a rendition is a documentation that's telling the county, hey, this is our business. We have this amount of inventory. We have this amount of furniture, fixtures, etc. And then that's this part of the year. We have that all the way up to April. Once April and the tax deadline is passed, we're on to the hearings and basically protesting property tax values for our clients. So that's a whole nother part of the business. And thankfully, everything's become available online. We can protest online, but my father's kind of old-fashioned, so he likes to have everything date stamped. So we have to certain things we do by hand, and then the protest season. That's the entire summer for me. So when my kids are off school, I'm in the appraisal districts fighting to get these property taxes reduced. Once the summer season is over, when all the protests have been heard, then we enter the fall and the winter. Now in the fall, we usually hear accounts that didn't get heard in the summer months because they were late being value noticed, etc. And then in the winter, that's when, the property tax statement starts coming in. We collect the tax statements for our property owners and mail it out to them and let them know how much tax they have to pay. And we also give them a report showing what they paid last year versus what they paid this year. If they're lower, if they're higher, we'd like to keep them lower. But sometimes they're higher. It's basically, we've got an eye on everything. So then it restarts again the next year. We've got a pretty good system. We stay pretty organized. And I like to think that our clients are happy with us.
The other element that you mentioned, I was going to say, is the protest part, where you are actually, and that's one of the other things that's difficult for most people that don't do it a lot when you go before the IRS, or in this case, Harris County Appraisal District, right? Well, that's where your protests are held, I suppose. But you're dealing with a government entity that in its own self has its own challenges.
It does. We get to work with a variety of different people that work at a lot of different appraisal districts across Texas, not only Harris County. Harris County is the largest county in the United States by parcel number. So
what does that mean, parcel number?
Parcel means accounts, meaning pieces of property that have different account numbers. Like, for example, your house, my house, and these ladies' houses. Those are all different account numbers, and we have the most as far as volume, not as far as real estate, but as far as volume. It's the biggest county in the United States. And then there's other counties that we work, Galveston, Fort Bend, Montgomery, Brazoria, et cetera, Dallas, Travis. So we get to work with a variety of different people. Now, when we deal with these people, we treat them with utter humility, respect, and we get them the information they need. We give them their evidence that they're requesting. We try to be as open as possible, so there's nothing that's hidden, and we're very truthful, and we've been doing this for over 20 years now. We've established a good relationship. Our name is pretty well a standard name in the business, and we'd like to keep it that way.
We're talking with Ali Galan, American Property Tax Services. Let's tell them your website, by the way, and the contact information.
Well, here's the best part. We don't have a website. In fact, we don't advertise. And this is the reason. We are a boutique firm, and we only take on a certain number of clients at a time because we don't want to jeopardize the level of service we bring to everyone. However, we do take your phone call. We do kind of interview your account, make sure you're within the boundaries that you're in. If you're being overtaxed, we'll get it down. We'll start helping you, and we'll start taking the steps to get your value reduced or issue corrected. Now, we're a 100% referral driven business. Everyone asks, hey, who took care of this for you? And then we get mentioned, and we take it from there. So we don't advertise a single penny. If anything, this is an advertisement, but I guess we've never advertised before, and I don't think we ever will. But the best way to reach me is at 281-240-0101, and my extension is 302. 281-240-0101, and my extension is 302.
Also, when we think about, before we talk about that, I noticed too, in looking at properties, every now and then I'm thinking about buying a second property and this sort of thing, and you know that. So I find that in one part of Houston, property taxes are X. Now, I found a place north of Houston, New Waverly, Texas. I'm talking to someone there about a home in New Waverly, about possibly purchasing this home. And they said, our tax rate's 1.9%. Then I talked to someone in Magnolia at a new home builder as well, And I said, well, what's your property taxes up here? And I think she said something like 3.4, some kind of. So let's, in case people didn't know, and I didn't know for a long time, around the city, there's different tax rates. So it makes a difference whether you buy a home here or over there. Is that right?
That's right. And that's driven.
What's the deal?
Okay, so I'll explain that. It's real simple. Every part of the city has its own jurisdictions, its own emergency services, its own hospital, its own college, its own levy improvement district, which people don't even know what that is. LID. They're like, why am I paying this LID? I'll explain that to you in a nutshell. So I personally live in a LID, and the lid tax is what drives a lot of the value, not the value, but the amount of tax up. And it stands for Levy Improvement District. What is a levy? A levy is something that stops water from coming in and wiping out an entire subdivision. Now, I live close to the Brazos River, so there needs to be a levee there, and they need to maintain it year after year for erosion, compacting, making it higher if need be. Anytime we have a major flood, it comes and takes a chunk away, and it constantly needs to be maintained in order for our houses not to get washed away if it ever is breached by another flood. We got really close during Harvey because of the rain bands just sitting on top of our area. However, the levee never got breached. Our houses were all saved, and that's what that levy improvement tax is for.
There's a case where you didn't mind paying that extra tax, I would think.
Not one bit, not one bit. And then the other major one is a mud tax. Everyone doesn't know what a mud tax is. Well, it stands for Municipal Utility District. Now, this Municipal Utility District tax is basically, before you purchase the home, this land was probably 100 to 200 acres of vacant land. Now, the developer had two options. They could have either dug out the utilities and ran the electricity, water, and gas to each one of their lots, which would cost them an arm and a leg, or had the city go out and do that for them. Now, all the streets are dug out, all the lots are carved, all the utilities are been provided to each one of the lots. And then once a house gets placed on it, it helps pay off that balance. So now the developer can sell the homes for cheaper than he would have to spend so much more, sell the house for so much more and not be in a competitive market. So looking at one house that's about 2,000 square feet for about $300,000 on one side of town, it needs to be competitive on the other side of town as well in these newer suburban districts. So that's a mud tax. Now, the good thing about this mud tax is they have a balance, just like your credit card. Once this mud tax gets reduced, they connect it to city services, and now the mud goes away. And I live in a neighborhood where I have the city tax, the county tax, the mud tax, and the lid tax. Now, my mud tax has been going down substantially year after year because this balance, if you will, for the utilities has been reduced greatly because of new homes have come online, all pitching in to pay that off. And you'll find that houses that are in the city that are connected to city services are selling for more because they are being taxed less because they don't have a mud district attached to them.
That's a lot of taxes.
It is.
Now, where I live, I have a mud tax. Well, the other comment on that is I've not heard of any tax going down. I'm glad that mud tax is going down for you. And then I've seen new home builders where that's part of their advertisement. We don't have a mud tax. So I have a regular tax, as you know, and then I have the mud tax as well. However, all that said, we want to pay our fair share. Taxes are very important. They're very, as far as the things that they do, all the taxes are important, but we don't want to pay more than we have to. As far as residential versus commercial, we think of it. I'm giving examples of homes and different taxes, but would the same thing apply if I had, and we'll take New Waverly again. Let's say I want to buy a building in New Waverly, and the home taxes are less, or I want to buy a building in Magnolia where I said the 3-point-something residential home tax was. Is that the same for the commercial? Are my taxes going to be higher?
Well, the easiest way to answer that is the commercial property have water, electricity, and gas? If it does, it's receiving a utility. In that utility district, if that home, for example, in Magnolia is paying that mud tax, you're inside the utility district. Yes, you're going to have to pay that mud tax, whereas If you're outside of that mud area and connected to city services, then you won't have to pay for that mud tax. It's all dependent on location. Again, the three biggest words in real estate: location, location, location. So that also matters in property tax as well.
So we hear about these people coming to Houston in record numbers from all over. Are some of these people that are buying properties, residential or commercial, are you meeting them as they're now new to Houston? Have people referred you to, hey, Ali, I want you to meet so-and-so. He has this building or she has this building over here, over there, and they need help with property taxes. Are you meeting some of the newcomers?
I am, because some of my clients are selling their properties. With record number of sales that are going on right now, my clients are either selling their residential or their commercial. And the first question that the new owner asks is, who takes care of your property tax? And then they, I guess, boast, brag, or refer us. And we take care of it for them. We continue that level of service. And in fact, yes, several newcomers from out of the state have already been referred to us from a property that was sold recently by one of our clients.
And how did your father, let's tell people his name, Hassan?
His name is Hanson Galan.
Because the last time when you were on the real estate show, I thought you said handsome Galan.
Oh.
But, okay. So.
No, Hanson, Hanson Galan. Yes, he's opened the business. He actually started on the other side of the table, working for the taxing jurisdictions back in the day. And then he came on this side, which is, I guess it's called the dark side, which is actually the better side. However, he started this business back then in the early 80s, and here we are now.
And it's going really well for your company. And your mom's involved, too. I met your mom 2 years ago.
My mom basically tells my dad what to do. All of us. Basically tells us all what to do. We just do exactly what she says.
Exactly. I heard someone say that as he was talking about his wife, I always have the last word, and it's yes, dear.
Yeah,
something like that.
It could be Mr. Right and Mrs. Always Right.
That's right. So in the meantime, speaking of family, you're a father. I mean, life, we're talking about successful living and things, the work-life balance. We're talking about balance in our bodies and having health and those things. But is it possible? How do you manage as a father of 2 children, right?
Yes.
Husband, a very successful, busy business, and a detailed one, no less. How do you keep it steady, to be able to spend time, to have your mind right, to function properly? How do you do it?
Well, the first thing is I start my day with the most simplest of tasks. Wake up, make your bed. If I don't do that, basically the rest of my day is going to fall apart. So when I wake up in the morning, make my bed, my first child I have to wake up is my daughter. I get her going, breakfast, snack for school, backpack, any other thing she may need. And then once she's in and out the door, it's my son's turn. He's in middle school. He's 13. His name's Parsa. And I get him up and running and dressed and make sure his room is clean and get him his snack and his water and get him out the door. And then I hit the gym myself. And I hit the gym I would say Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week. I don't miss. And CrossFit is the type of fitness that I do. And I do it, 6 days a week. And that is also, that clears my mind. That takes a lot of the crazy out of my head. It gives me basically a clean sheet to work on as soon as I hit the office and get things going in the morning, and full of energy, and I can kind of eat or drink off the menu if I want, because I can say I earned it.
Well, and that's one of the things. You talk about the mental component of exercise. Now, I don't go to a gym or do any heroic exercise, but I will tell you, I have for decades, and I don't even know when I started. It might have been in the 80s. I do a little bit every day. I walk. And until recently, I've been doing 10 push-ups a day. So I find that on the rare days in a year that I don't walk, just mentally, they're like making your bed. There's a little disconnect that, yeah, physically, I'm sure it's doing some great things, keeping the circulation, calories maybe, but also there's that mental element of the mind body working together and going back to immune systems and things. It's important to exercise. So, hey, I'm not preaching to anybody out there, but if you haven't incorporated any kind of even minimal exercise, let us be an encouraging word here out there, because it's very important.
whether you want to go to an actual gym or you want to walk around the neighborhood or go for a casual jog, get out there and do it. Pick a point to go to and make a U-turn and come right back. You just did more than you did the day before, if the day before you did absolutely nothing. And then gradually try to increase that. Turn that walk into a little strut, turn that strut into a jog into a sprint. Then you can increase the distance or go to a gym. It really helps burn your mental crazy. And then you get that clean sheet to start with every morning. And trust me, you won't even need coffee.
There you go. Also, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Well, like I said, we've been in business since the 80s, the early 80s. And if there's any issue that you may have or you just have a question, we take all comers. So just give us a call. We'll check it out. And if there's an issue, we'll guide you the right way to get this issue resolved. If there's not, then consider yourself lucky.
And the number is?
And the number is 281-240-0101.
American Property Tax Services, Lee Galan. American Property Tax Superhero. That's what I say.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate
Your
that.
Your parents should be proud. And I think they are.
I hope they are.
And thanks for being on the show. Let's welcome back from Modern Acupuncture, Kristen O'Pry and Rachel Eckroth. Hey, ladies, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, before we close the show, Kristen, what else do you want people to know?
That acupuncture is just a natural way of healing. It's an alternative to narcotics and pain medication. And modern acupuncture is an easy, accessible, affordable, but most importantly, effective way to heal your body.
And that's the name of your business, right?
Exactly.
Modern Acupuncture.
Yes.
That's a great name.
www.modernacupuncture.com.
Rachel, before we close things down, final word.
Piggybacking off of Kristen, acupuncture we address most health concerns and as well as the maintenance of health. And so I urge everybody to come get it a try. You will notice a difference immediately.
In fact, you make it so easy in so many ways, answering questions, and your initial cost for the first-time comer is
$29.
Okay, there you go. 3 cups of coffee, right?
Exactly.
And the website is, Kristen?
www.modernacupuncture.com.
And my next treatment, I'm going to have Rachel.
Great.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Come see her at River
All
Oaks.
right, we'll see you there at River Oaks. And thank you all for listening to Successful Living with Bill Nampick. And today, Successful Living with Kristen O'Pry, Rachel Eckroth, and your property tax superhero, Lee Galan. Thank you all for listening. You can find more information at radiobill.net. That's radiobill.net. Tons of things there. Also, you can check out Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title every Sunday at 5 o'clock right before this show. I'm the host there. Again, radiobill.net, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, George.
Tune in to Successful Living with Bill Nampick, a unique, engaging lifestyle program Sundays 8 to 9 p.m. on 950 KPRC. That's Sundays 8 to 9 p.m. Successful Living with Bill Nampick. Go to radiobill.net for more info.
Are you having trouble getting the Wi-Fi to work in your home? You know, if the home is over 4,000 square feet, it's going to be really tough to get the box from the service provider to do the job for you. Let me tell you about Jacqueline and Donnie from Media Systems. They have a team of high-tech professionals that know how to solve this. They also work on all kinds of home automation systems like Crestron, Lutron, and Control4. Look, if you don't mow your own yard or work on your own car, why are you wasting time with this stuff? Call Jacqueline and Donnie, your home technology advisors, and have their team take care of this for you. Media Systems has been in business for 40 years in Houston, and they're ready to help. Check them out at mediasystems.com, mediasystems.com, or call 713-426-0900, 713-426-0900, mediasystems.com.
Successful Living with Bill Nampick. Go to radiobill.net for more info.